Hello, everyone. My name is Andrew.
And my name is Jeremy.
And this is the Culips English Podcasts. This is a catchword episode. Catchword is the series where we teach you idioms, phrasal verbs, interesting vocabulary, and expressions that will help you to improve your English listening and speaking. Before we get started today, I would like to let everyone know about the study guide for this episode. It's available for all Culips members, and you can download it on our website, 𝗀𝗵𝗯.com. We recommend that you follow along with the study guide while you listen to us here today. And I'm not alone today. I'm joined by my co-host, Jeremy. I should introduce you to everyone, Jeremy. What's up?
I hope some people know me already. I've been doing this for quite a while.
Yeah, you're not new by any stretch of the imagination.
But I am doing well today, and I actually was very, very busy today. And that relates to the expressions that we're going to talk about today, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Today we are going to learn two expressions that native English speakers use all the time when they are busy. And we'll get to that in just a moment. But before we start, I did want to give a shout out to one of our listeners who sent us a nice message recently. His name is 𝗵𝗯, and he wrote, "Guys, your podcast is insane." And I loved this because this is using English in a very casual, colloquial way. What does it mean, insane, here, Jeremy, if he says, "Guys, your podcast is insane"?
Well, it doesn't mean that our podcast is actually crazy, although crazy can be used to mean the same thing here. But crazy
Yes.
and insane are usually used as adjectives to mean extremely good, usually, or extremely something.
Exactly. And in this case, it just means very good. So, guys, your podcast is insane. We can interpret as meaning, guys, your podcast is very good. And 𝗵𝗯 goes on to say that he recently moved to Canada with his girlfriend, and his English wasn't excellent when he started listening to Culips, but now every day he is improving more and more. So we are definitely happy to hear that, and thank you for the nice message, 𝗵𝗯.
Good for you, 𝗵𝗯.
All right, so let's take a look at our first expression. It is to have a lot on your plate. To have a lot on your plate. Plate here is P-L-A-T-E, and I think of it as being like a dinner plate. Is that the image that you get in your mind too, Jeremy?
Yeah, I imagine like when you go to a buffet and everything looks good and you put a little bit of everything on your plate and then it's overflowing and you can hardly carry it back to your table. Is that just me?
No, that's what my buffet plate looks like as well.
Okay, I see.
Right. So if you imagine this image of, a plate with too much food on it, there's no empty space. It's just jam-packed. It's a very, very full plate. And so we use this imagery as a metaphor for meaning being very busy in life.
And also, if there is food on your plate, that is food that you will be eating. So when we say, I have a lot on my plate, it implies that I have a lot of things that I have to do. Just like I have a lot of food that I have to eat because it is on my plate. It indicates that you have a lot of responsibilities or things that you have to take care of.
Totally. So, Jeremy, At the start of the episode, you said that you have been very, very busy lately.
Yes.
And another way that you could have said this is, I've had a lot on my plate lately.
To me, that one sounds like I have a lot of responsibilities. Not just busy with random things, but busy with things that I am responsible for. If I go to a buffet and I put 3 big pieces of food on my plate, I must eat all of them, right? That is sort of implied.
The agreement. Yeah.
Yes, that is the agreement. If I take this, I will eat it.
Yeah, so I think that's a good distinction to make then. When you have a lot on your plate, you are very busy, but not just busy with like little random things, but busy with specific tasks and assignments and projects and work that you personally took on in life. You personally agreed to do these things. It's not, I've been so busy because a lot of people called me randomly today. I had so many phone calls. That's busy, but that's not by your doing, right? That's just a random occurrence. So there is that distinction here.
Yeah, so if someone says, I have a lot on my plate, it implies that they chose a lot of things, or they committed to a lot of different tasks, and now there is too much. So they have chosen too many things that they have to do, and as a result, they are busy.
Cool. Let's take a listen to the first example using this expression, to have a lot on your plate, right now. Feels like I haven't seen you in forever. What have you been up to?
I know, right? I've just had a lot on my plate lately. I took on a new assignment at work and I've just been slammed.
Sounds rough.
Yeah, I've been working overtime for the last 2 weeks straight. But finally, the end is in sight. The deadline is the end of the week, and then things will get back to normal.
When your schedule clears up, we should grab a coffee or something.
Definitely, man. Let's do it.
In this example that we heard, 2 friends randomly bump into each other on the street and they have a little conversation to see how each other is doing. And one of the friends says that he has a lot on his plate lately. This means that he is very busy. And why is he busy? Well, he took on a new assignment at work and he has just been slammed because of that. Slammed. This is another expression that we often use to describe people who are very, very busy with lots of work. You're slammed with work. You're just crazy busy. However, the 2 friends decide to grab a coffee and hang out when the busy period is finished and life returns back to normal.
Let's move on to the second example for this expression. Where's Brian? I thought he'd be here at the party.
Really? It's hard to get him out to anything anymore.
Yeah, I know he has a lot on his plate these days, but I was hoping he'd make it out.
He's just so busy with the kids and the business. He doesn't have too much time to socialize, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. Hopefully we get to see him sooner than later. In this example, 2 friends are talking about another friend that is not present at the party that they are both at. They mention that he has a lot on his plate and that he is busy with the kids and the business. This implies that he has somehow chosen to be a father and chosen to run a business. So those 2 things are things that he put on his plate and have therefore made him busy. One friend says that he hopes he would make it out. To make it out in this context means to make the effort to come out to the party. So when we say make it or make it out, this implies that somehow the process of coming out is difficult.
Exactly, Jeremy. So let's say next week it's my birthday party, okay? And I want to invite you to my birthday party. So I would say, oh, Jeremy, next week's my birthday party. I really hope you can make it. Or I really hope you can make it out.
Yes.
And it just means that I really hope that you can come to the party. I don't want you to design the party, to organize the party, to craft the party. I just want you to come to the party. So I think here this make out, make it out can be confusing because some people might interpret this as I want you to organize the party, but it's not that at all, is it? It's just I want you to come to the party.
It just means come, but it implies that it is maybe difficult for that person to come out because in this example, they have children and a business, and those things are difficult to get away from. So if this friend, Brian, comes out, if he manages to get away from his kids and put his business on hold so he can come out to a party, then we would say he made it out. He went through a difficult process to come out.
Exactly. That's a perfect explanation. All right, Jeremy, why don't we transition now to our second expression for this episode?
Let's do it.
Which is another expression that relates to being busy. However, in this case, you're busy because you have too many things to deal with and you feel overwhelmed. And it's not necessarily things that you invited into your life.
Yes.
It could just be anything. It could be external forces or things that you have created for yourself, anything that is causing you to be busy. And this expression is to be swamped. To be swamped. SWAMPED. Swamped.
As in, I am swamped or she is swamped. Now, there might be some listeners who don't know what a swamp is. That is not a very common word. What is a swamp, Andrew?
Well, if you're from Canada, I would argue that it is a common word.
Okay.
Because we have lots of swamps in Canada. And maybe if you're from some places in the USA too, like Florida or down south, you have lots of swamps as well.
True.
Probably not in California, though.
Not where I'm from.
No, but a swamp is a kind of very shallow lake. It's a body of water that has lots of plants inside, lots of reeds, lots of lily pads, and lots of grasses. And it's just a very shallow body of water. Like you might even be able to walk through a swamp because the water might only be knee deep.
Usually plants stick up from out of the water. The water is not very clear. It's usually very dirty and full of algae or sometimes crocodiles.
Yes.
And frogs and little fish and bugs. So it's not clear water like a lake would be, but it's very shallow.
Now, Jeremy, imagine you fell into a swamp and you were trying to get out of the swamp. Would that be an easy process or a difficult process?
I think that would be a difficult process, definitely. If I fell into a swamp, I would likely get tangled up in the plants and vines and maybe a snake and bugs. And when I tried to stand up, it would probably be very difficult to get out of the swamp.
Right. It's very muddy too.
Muddy.
Right. So when you're trying to walk, you get stuck in the mud and you would just have a lot to deal with when trying to get out of that swamp. You'd be covered in seaweed, bugs, mud.
And you can't run in a swamp, actually.
Yeah, you couldn't run. It's exactly true. You know, it's funny, come to think of it, we also have the expression in English to be bogged down. To be bogged down.
Same one.
And a bog is another word for a swamp. It's a very similar type of place. And it's also for a very similar type of situation. When you're very busy, you're bogged down. A little bonus expression for you all, listeners.
Yeah.
Just sometimes, you know, as we start teaching these expressions, we make other kind of linguistic connections, right? And that's an example of it right there.
Very organic.
So to summarize, to be swamped just means to be overwhelmed with doing many, many things. Maybe you have too many customers at the store that you work at and you can't deal with them all, then you are swamped. Or you have too many emails to answer before you can go home from the office for the day. Then you are swamped as well.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we take a listen to a couple of conversation examples with this expression, to be swamped.
Let's do it.
How's business these days?
Business is booming. We've been swamped with new customers lately.
That's great.
Yeah, it really is. But it also means a lot of long nights working late.
I can only imagine. If you ever need a hand, though, just let me know.
That would be great, actually. I'll definitely take you up on that.
So in this example, we hear two friends talking about business. This is a very, very common small talk question to ask someone who you know is a business owner or who is in business for themselves. You ask them, how's business these days? And that's the question that we hear one friend ask his other friend. And the friend replies by saying that business is booming. Business is booming means that business is going very well and he is making lots of money. However, he is swamped with new customers. So there's too many new customers. He's so busy because there is an overwhelming number of new customers always visiting his business. And so this is a perfect situation where we can use this expression.
To make this example real, actually, my wife runs a flower shop. And on Valentine's Day, for example, they are always swamped with orders. They get so many orders that they can hardly process them all. And we almost always use this expression in that situation.
So all of those romantic guys out there are getting in their orders, and as a result, the flower shop is swamped with customers.
Exactly.
Let's listen to one final example with to be swamped.
The printer's jammed again. Could you help me figure it out?
I'm kind of swamped right now. Why don't you ask Julie? She's good with the printer.
She's out of the office for the afternoon.
Okay, give me 10 minutes and I'll go check it out.
Okay, thanks. In this example, two coworkers are talking about a jammed printer. One of them asks the other for help, but he says that he is swamped right now. This means that he has too many things to do and feels stressed out.
Exactly. And I think we've all been there, right? You know, when you're trying to do work in the office, you have a deadline and you're working like crazy and you're just swamped and you feel stressed out. And then somebody asks you for a favor or asks you for help. And you're like, no, I can't help you. I'm trying to do my own work. This is something I think a lot of people can relate to, this feeling.
Yes.
That brings us to the end of today's episode. Just to recap, we learned two expressions that we can use anytime we are talking about people being busy. If you are busy by your own doing because you've taken on a lot of extra work and responsibilities, then you have a lot on your plate. And if you are busy because you have an overwhelming amount of something affecting your life, like too much work or too many customers, too many phone calls, then we could say that you are swamped. So thank you for listening today, everyone. We hope that you learned a lot. And if you like listening to Culips and enjoy learning English with us, then please support us. You can do that several ways. You could sign up to become a Culips member, and Culips members get unlimited access to our study guide library. You get ad-free episodes. You get exclusive access to our Fluency Files series, and much, much more. So just check out our website, 𝗀𝗵𝗋.com, to learn how to become a Culips member. You can also support us by following us on social media, telling your friends about us, or by sending us a message through email or social media. Our email address is contact@𝗀𝗵𝗋.com. That is it for us for now. We'll be back soon with another brand new episode, and we'll talk to you then. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone. Take care.